Hey guys, Andrew Myles from Andrew Myles Intuitive here today, and something I wanted to talk about is a little bit different this time around because today's Friday, so let's have some fun and go into some wild theories and such. So let's jump a little bit into ancient history, channeling, ancient Egypt, deities, and some just interesting ideas and thoughts. And I want to start off with that I by no means necessarily believe or am married to an idea or a concept that I talk about here, but I find it all very interesting and I do definitely resonate with some of the stuff. And I would say that it's important to use your own discernment and your own judgment when it comes to this information. Um, I will say that I do mostly believe in a lot of this stuff that I'm going to talk about, but I believe I believe in it from the aspect that I'm going to be presenting it in a way. Whereas there's a lot of different theories on these things, and you talk to one person and it's completely different from someone else standing right next to them. Like there's about as many different theories as people who believe in these things. So take it with a grain of salt, take it as whatever resonates with you resonates, and that's your truth. So let's get started. Basically, I channel the spirit or the energy of the deities Horus and also Set. So these are what we know as Egyptian deities. If you know Egyptian mythology at all, you know that Set was an Egyptian god who essentially killed another Egyptian god to claim the throne. He killed Osiris and spread his remains across Egypt. That's how the war goes, and essentially wreaked havoc across the land and caused all kinds of death and destruction, whatnot. And then Horus, with Isis, I think it was, came and tried to piece back together Osiris, and they essentially like won the throne back from Set and all this stuff. Like that's paraphrasing. I don't have it all memorized anymore. It's been a while since I reread the myth and everything like that. So that being said, moving on from that to the idea of Anunnaki and extra dimensional beings and the creation of humanity, there's belief that these extra dimensional beings called the Anunnaki came to Earth as a mining and used it as a mining planet to attain gold to save their homeworld, right? Now, they took species that were already existing on Earth and genetically modified them to essentially make them more intelligent, make them capable of listening to orders, and basically made a slave race. That's what a lot of people believe, right? If you follow the Anunnaki at all. Two of the main characters in that whole series are Enlil and Enki. This is based off of ancient Sumerian mythology and texts, right? Now, my idea that from everything that I've read and from everything that I've seen and experienced and felt and what vibrates within me is that the Anunnaki are not just one race, right? So when it talks about the God created the heavens and the earth in the Bible, the original version is Elohim created humanity, heavens and the earth, etc. Elohim in Hebrew actually is a plural word, which means the gods, right? So the gods created us in their own image. Now, when people talk about the Anunnaki, they reference the Hebrew Elohim created heavens and the earth, humanity, etc., right? They reference the Elohim and they reference the Anunnaki. I personally believe, though, that because they say that, like, they created all of life on Earth or whatever in the image of Elohim, of the gods, that the gods, the Anunnaki, are actually a collective of different extra dimensional or other dimensional beings, right? So you're talking reptilian beings, draconian beings being one of them, blue avian beings, Lyran cat beings, Andromedans, the Greys, Pleiadians, uh, insectoid beings. Um, there's a handful. There's too many to even count. We have dolphins, which are believed to be extra dimensional beings of higher consciousness from another dimension. We have all kinds of other fish and stuff in the sea, right? Crustaceans. Even built into the crustacean is this the what's it called? The circle, the spiral, and that has sacred geometric meaning and all that stuff, right? So we have cats, we have reptiles, we have birds, blue avians, bird beings, reptilian beings, reptiles, including snakes, including possible mythological dragons, etc. And that's a whole nother topic for another time. But anyways, okay. So we have all of these creatures, including humans, and we have these beings who created all of the life that is now on the earth from the life that already existed here, right? And made them in their image. So that's to say, perhaps birds, perhaps reptiles, perhaps humans, and cats, and all of these animals come from from different races, from who knows what universe, who knows what dimension, who can exist both in physicality and in like just energetic sense. Because if you think about it right now, we cannot travel to other dimensions because we have not unlocked the ability to travel faster than light to be able to get there, right? We can't we can't even get to Mars within a reasonable amount of time at this moment to be sustainable. So like I said, we had all these beings who could exist in terms of frequency or light and in physicality. And they came here, they created life on Earth as we know it, and essentially made this race of people to serve them and to, as an experiment, essentially, to see, is it as an experiment in consciousness, is what I believe it was. I believe that there were some who broke off from this original group. I believe that there were some who broke off who wanted to use humans as slave race. And I believe that there were some who just wanted to kind of let us do our thing and see what happens, right? That being said, once again, this kind of goes back to the whole Enki thing, because one of them wanted to help humans and make us more intelligent and help us evolve, and the other one wanted to keep us as a slave race and as just miners for gold who basically served us, right? So that being said, going into this, if we think about the Anunnaki as this, and we think about the ancient deities all across the world, in ancient Greece, in ancient Egypt, for the Aztecs in South America, South Africa, whatever, Central America, South America, all of these different places, I believe that essentially these beings that we called gods were extra dimensional beings that came here and created us, and we called them gods. And essentially, they looked different than us, but similar because they made us in their image. But I think that all the mythological creatures existed at one point as creations and experiments as well. And I think that part of why we think that of these gods and have images of these gods as different animals is either by the energy that they embodied, what they had as their pets or something like that, or perhaps what they wore. They might have worn ceremonial headdresses and stuff like that to stand out, that might have been in the shape of a bird head or whatever, you know. But I think that these beings that we call like Set and Osiris and Horus and everything like that were these Anunnaki beings, and that they still exist because they exist outside of time and space, and they can live for whatever, like much longer than humans can, because once again they exist outside of our time and space, so they are not existing the same way that we exist, and essentially they could far outlive us by hundreds of thousands of years, if not millions of years sometimes, and we would have no idea, right? That being said, I want to say that I think a lot of the things that we know now as a species are very limited, I think that ancient history, it was much more advanced than we are willing to admit to ourselves and are being told by society, by um, the established powers that be, by historians and archaeologists and governments and everything. I think it's way more advanced than that. I think we're on like the fourth or fifth iteration of humanity. I think the flood was the last time that we were wiped out and restarted. And yeah, so that's just the tip of the iceberg. I'm talking about ancient Egypt specifically because in another video I'm going to go into my idea on ancient Egypt, Seth, Osiris, Horus, all of those beings, and how that would relate back to the Anunnaki, okay? And how that would relate to spirituality in general. So that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed the information. I hope it made sense. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. If you like what I'm doing on this channel, which is talking about spirituality and then also going into some of the ancient history and esoteric ideals and everything like that, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, share this video, subscribe to my channel. Like I said, click the little bell in the below this video so that you can be told by YouTube when I come up with new stuff, new content. If you want to work with me, I'm going to have a link posted in the description below. That's to my Calendly, and you can go on there, take a very short survey, schedule an appointment with me for a free 45-minute session, and it will be like a strategy call where we can talk about building your spiritual gifts up, building you along your spiritual path, and helping you to develop as just a being who wants to follow their path, their spiritual path, and learn how to use their spiritual gifts, because we all have spiritual gifts. We just don't necessarily know how to use them or how to activate them. And the truth is, we are all psychic, we are all intuitive, and you can learn how to use those abilities for yourself and give yourself an edge up over a lot of other people in this life. And not in a bad way. It's, you can do so much good by doing this, by tuning into your psychic and intuitive abilities. Give yourself that edge up for yourself and for the benefit of those around you and for the rest of the world, because when you wake up, you help to wake others up. Also, follow my Instagram below. That's linked down there too. Thanks, guys. Have a good night. Bye.